What's up, friends, boys, and girls? I'm back. I'm going to continue reading The Age of Apocalypse. Anybody who's... I've gotten a few messages from some of you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate any of you guys who are enjoying this. I know it says my Twitch name up there because I'm always trying to push my Twitch, but I have been actually putting these videos up on my YouTube, which I will start including my YouTube channel on the link. I should start tonight, but I don't feel like opening up the OBS and dealing with all that bullshit. So I hope everyone's having a good night. I hope you guys have been enjoying hearing this. So our last story, we got to look into the origin of Nate Gray, also known as X-Man. Super powerful character. We know his genetics, they said, came from an unsuspecting Cyclops and Jean Grey. He was born in a tube. Keep in mind, this is Age of Apocalypse Cyclops, Age of Apocalypse Jean Grey. He's powerful. He's going to be a plot mechanism that gets rolling and rolling. But those of you who have heard of Nate Gray, or heard of his, heard of him before and things like that, know that he's very powerful. You might wonder, what's X-Men's deal? Why does he come back? Well, this is his big story. This was supposed to be, what he was built for was this story. But, fans bring shit back. So enough for the last issue. We're going to take a little interlude in the Age of Apocalypse to get into the character Blink. I loved Blink growing up. I still like Blink. Blink for me is one of those women that you learn to like girls, monster girls and shit like that when you were a kid, when you saw things that didn't look human that were like her, that were adorable though. Anyways, let's get down with this, guys. Dallas, Texas, rather what is left of it during these dark days of genetic war. The human race has been subjugated by mutants, their superpowered cousins, led by the conqueror known as Apocalypse. These mutants have launched a campaign of genocide. Only a small band of them oppose this genetic cleansing. Today, despite the concerns of their leader, a freedom fighter known as Magneto, 3 X-Men have come to this once thriving city to evacuate a handful of human survivors. Oops. Damn it, where's that air support that Worthington promised us? Morph, we need you to take a peek and let us know what our odds are. Right on, Rogue. Oh, untouchable, irrepressible you. Though I should point out, math was never my... Morph! Right on it, gotcha. Wonk. You win, she's back. Blink. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, future Cloudy, try again later. You see all hell's breaking loose, because Age of Apocalypse is a shit dystopia. Oh, it was read by Scott Lobdell, I always mentioned before. I met Scott Lobdell when I was real little, it was cool. I'm thinking we'd stand a better chance of survival if we cut the comedy and then Rogue goes, cut the comedy, sugar. We need to concentrate on getting these people to a place where they're not threatened. Yeah, I know how they feel. Blink. I know you're not capable of teleporting in half this number of... Blink? Blink. She was a purple girl, right? She left about 5 minutes ago. Blast Clarice. She has strict orders not to go off on her own. Kids, what you gonna do? No, the most terrifying aspect of these buildings is how common they've become in the past 3 years. There is one in every major city in the United States. Difficult to maintain, perhaps, from an administrative point of view, but they are there to send a message to both the human and mutant population. The message is, give up. There is no point defying the will of Apocalypse. The horror inspired by the building below doesn't result from its immediate association with Sabanor, the Dark Lord Apocalypse, feared and hated by the world. It is not the unspeakable evil that takes place within these walls. The experiments conducted on humans, the plans to crush the will and lives of an entire race to the twisted desires of mankind's next evolutionary step. There is no point in defining the will of Apocalypse. There is no hope. Apparently someone didn't get the memo. What the? And the name of the Dark Lord? She was born Clarice Ferguson, raised on one island of Cartusia in the Bahamas. Her family came to the United States when she was 4 years old. Ironically, they did it to help her. She was born with light purple skin. Even the markings on her face were there at birth. But perhaps the oddest thing about the girl was the fact that Clarice to Clarice there was never anything wrong with her. To any 8-year-old, everyone is different. Different, but kind of fun. She can still remember where she was the night the horseman known as Sinister came to the city of Miami. She can still see her father valiantly but futilely trying to fend off the approaching hordes. She saw him die as she peered through a gap between the floor and the door to the cellar. She remembered the sound of her mother's her mother's frantic whisper, "Stay there, Clarice. We won't let them have you. We won't." She remembers every instant she was an inhabitant of the pens until she was liberated by a man named Victor Creed, and she became an X-Man. But that was before Apocalypse reached the heart of America and twisted it painfully into this script. It was before frightened neighbors started turning on frightened neighbors. Perhaps the oddest part of Clarice's transformation from frightened girl into freedom fighter is that her mutant genetic power did not even manifest itself until she was imprisoned, until she had already lost everything that had mattered in her life. It's the teleporter. Calls herself Nightcrawler, she does. Blink. The name is Blink. If the Dark Beast had only left well enough alone. The technical term for it is biomolecular displacement. By focusing her mutant energies on one point, she can move matter from one place to another. It happens in an instant, in the blink of an eye. Sometimes it comes back. Sometimes it comes back. Sometimes it is held in stasis. Dear God. Apocalypse, what have you done this time? I just gotta see, is she not so adorable? Like I said, I don't know. Comics wrecked me when you look and you're like, look at all this e-girl stuff. I'm like, dude, we had all these mutant girls a long time ago. I appreciate. Typical. No? Yours truly toils over a hot Bunsen burner, and it's Apocalypse who gets all the credit? The sounds of his voice is like an ice pick driven into the base of her skull. Real quick, guys, the Dark Beast. You remember, I'm flattered. We've seen what a maniacal psychopath Hank McCoy is in this world. In this world, he has been untethered by morality. Science has been his biggest thing driving him. He's not afraid to torture, to maim, to mutilate himself even. He becomes a big antagonist. He will survive the Age of Apocalypse and make it to the 616 universe. And he was a big part of when the X-Men were broken as a team during the I can't think of who it was, but it was the run post AVX, and when Scott's powers and stuff weren't working, it was Nano Sentinels he had in Magneto's blood and all theirs. He's kind of been going down a slippery slope in the main verse. You know, he's kind of been turning into Dark Beast. Let's go at this. The Dark Beast. You remembered. I'm flattered. Maybe I'll fire that publicist after all. But then not everyone has been as intimate as you and I have. Isn't that true, Clarice? But don't feel jealous, Clarice. You are a work of art. The pathetic creature you see behind you, business, strictly business. Until recently he was an ambassador from the planet Pop-Up. Instead of getting back on his ship and turning around, he made the mistake a lot of aliens make. He asked to be taken to our leader. Things didn't go well. Not for him. But me, I'm having the time of my life. It turns out that every DNA strand of every member of this impossible race is identical to every other. Imagine entire race's genetic potential linked to every member of that race. You're probably too young to remember sea monkeys, huh? You, what? Cloned an entire army from one of his genes? Let's see where this is. You what? Cloned an entire army from one of his genes? Clone, no, Miss Ferguson. You're looking at the splinters of the trees from the forest. Cloning means duplicating original cells. What we have here is more like splitting an amoeba 10 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. These aren't copies. They are the original over and over again. But, there's a but. Always there's a but, Blink. That's what we call it That's why we call it science. But things have gotten a little, well, carried away. At that moment, miles away, I'm beginning to think my husband was right after all, Kevin. Perhaps our Blink has gone AWOL on us, just when we needed her most. She's a good egg rogue. Kind of Easter eggy, sure, but she'd never let us down. Clarice, wherever you are, whatever you're up to, you'd better do it soon. Oh, Rich, how positively rich. You don't believe for a moment that I believe You don't believe for a moment that I believe you would take the life of this innocent creature, do you? Perhaps when you were a resident of the pens, but you're an ex-girl now, Clarice. Ex-people are known for their soft, chewy centers. I am an X-Man, Dr. McCoy, an X-Man trained by Sabretooth. That's true. Please end this. Ha ha. What'd I say? Soft and chewy. Ha ha. What the... No, you have no idea where he's even gone, do you? Do you? Someplace better than here? Someplace better than here. 1 week later, Grand Central Station. Once upon a time, it was the awe-inspiring entrance into what was arguably the greatest city on the face of the earth. Now, like the city itself, she is a graveyard of dreams. In many ways, Clarice knows how she feels. Her mutant ability gives her the power to move anything from one place to another. But what's the point if where you're going is as bad as where you've been? Is one graveyard any better than another? Does it really matter to the dead who is shoveling the dirt upon the corpses? This is not working out. What? When Victor rescued you from the pens, you said you wanted to help the X-Men. You claimed at the time that you wanted to stand by our side and help liberate both humans and mutants from the tyranny that is this age of apocalypse. You gave your word that you would do anything. Anything, apparently, except that which you're told to do. Each time you ignore an order, you put everyone around you in jeopardy. You put our entire movement at risk. You are a child, Clarice, playing a game when you should be at war. I can no longer abide your presence among my X-Men. We are not your X-Men, Magneto. We are people, each of us with our own thoughts and feelings on everything. Don't think you can just get rid of me just because I won't march in goose step with the rest of you or mindless little soul. Don't you dare. Shut. I can appreciate your pain, child. I, like you, grew up in a death camp. I know how difficult it can be to find something to believe in when everything you loved had been destroyed. But even I have my limits, Clarice. You would do well to remember that. We will not be having this conversation again. Step out of line again and you're on your own. You'll have no home with the X-Men. I'm sorry it has come to this. Yeah, well, maybe I don't need the X-Men. Did you ever think of that? Maybe I don't need anybody. Manhattan Island, the dark heart of Apocalypse's campaign of annihilation. Several miles long, it speaks volumes to the citizens of a world where hope is little more than a memory. Just as no light touches the shadows that fall beneath this citadel, so too is there no promise of survival for the human race in Apocalypse's new world. The irony is that everyone knows where Apocalypse lives. It's just that no one is suicidal enough to take the fight to him. Until now. This is the part of Clarice Ferguson that knows how this conflict will resolve. A part of her that is eager for her heart to catch up with the soul that died the day her parents were slaughtered before her eyes. Part of her craves a release from the pain that has been her life ever since. But that's not a result of her age, really. When you're young, you believe every tomorrow is going to be as miserable as every day. In real life, however, your life, the fates, the world itself, can be hurled off into an unexpected direction an instant later. That's what happened here moments ago, when Holocaust, the most trusted of Apocalypse's horsemen, was alerted to an ambush here within the Master's inner sanctum. One moment they were planning the culling of both the Dakotas, the next he and his Infinites were battling an army of monsters from another world. I don't know how you came to be here, or what rage you harbor against my Dark Lord, but all of you will all fall before the fury of Holocaust. That may be true of the pathetic humans who have opposed you so far, but let's see how you fare against the power of Blastar. Brr. He cannot know, of course, that these monsters are Bolurians, residents of the other dimension realm known as the Negative Zone. These are some Fantastic Four monsters, guys. Foom. My liege, are you... You've made your point, Holocaust, but Blastar has an army, an entire empire at his command. You and your Lord Apocalypse will be crushed beneath the boots of 100,000 Bolurians. But today was not about your defeat. It was about letting you know that you can count the rest of your life in days and weeks. Come, men, army, from this place, as Blastar commands. Cease, you fools. But, sir, they're getting away. As they should. Let them stay away. We have enough to concern ourselves with crushing rebels who seek to defy our ruler. The last thing we need to do is to divide our forces in battle with these interdimensional morons. Then again, maybe that's exactly what Apocalypse's armies need to be doing. Magneto might not agree, but maybe we can form an alliance with these Bolurians. Blink? Yes? No, I mean blink. Give me a reason to kill you. Clever. Tell me, Holocaust, do you give out comedy awards at the end of the year? Blink. Stop her. Somebody stop her before she reaches the portal. Too late. It is a place with no name. In many ways, it is a place more horrible than the hell in which she was raised. For Clarice Ferguson has just traded the devil she knows for the one she does not. I do not recognize your markings, strangers, which means you are a fool to venture so deep into the Negative Zone. Speak, stranger, speak, so I know the name of the being I am bringing back to the gods. My name? I don't remember. To be continued. Like I said, good shit, guys. These are phone books. I'd love to read the next one, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow. Thank you guys for anybody who's been watching, giving feedback. Some of you guys have liked on my Facebook. Some of you guys have written comments here. I'm on Facebook, I'm on my YouTube. Some of you guys have written comments here and stuff like that. But please keep it going. And I enjoy reading for you guys. I enjoy sharing the X-Men. I feel knowledgeable, not like I'm fronting or full of shit or trying hard on this stuff. This stuff is natural. This shit's this is my geek roots, guys. Some of you motherfuckers went to Hogwarts and attended Slytherin and Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff and Gryffindor and Monkey Dong and all that shit. But and other ones of you were different stuff. For me, man, it was X-Men, and we were all these different little factions and camps and shit like that. And I love my mutants. I love this world, guys. Y'all have a good night, and I can't wait to read for you tomorrow, guys. Peace.